I'm sitting here in this beautiful hacienda at the top of El Cerro, which has incredible unspoiled views of the Malecon, with Todd Nevins. And we're going to talk about why you and your better half are probably one of the very few expats and frequent visitors to PV who are actually here. We're actually now past the governor's 30 days. We're officially into the first week of the 15-day extension. And, cut back to when the first announcements of the stay home and the go back home were announced, you decided that you were actually going to stay put and shelter in place right here.
Yeah,
how did that happen?
we got to Puerto Vallarta from Merida around March 15th, roughly.
Yeah.
We were permanent residents, or we're temporary residents in Mexico, and we had spent all winter in Merida.
Oh, cool.
And we came here for what was planned to be 3 months. And after getting here for a week to 2 weeks,
That's right.
things started changing immediately, and we just went small and sheltered in place. And we were following not only, of course, the rules of Mexico, but we were kind of following what was going on in places that we're familiar with in the United States, which is Dallas and Austin.
Exactly.
And so we just stayed in.
So when you're not in Mexico, you're in Texas.
Yes, but we are primarily in Mexico. We spend less than a month a year in the United States.
Yeah.
Where we lived most recently was Austin for 2 years.
Love it.
But we travel into the United States a few weeks here and there throughout the year.
Yeah. So you had rented this beautiful place already, and you had planned to stay here 3 months. But when everyone started leaving, you guys decided you were going to stay here.
Yeah, we never really thought about leaving. We both looked at each other and thought, well, where would we go? We don't have a home.
Right.
We live out of Airbnbs throughout Mexico, so
Yeah.
wherever we are, wherever our suitcases are and our laptops,
Yeah.
that's home. And so we never really thought about it, and we are temporary residents here, so we have a little bit of an insight into. We have health care here, and we have friends here. We have connections if we
So
run
this
into
is
emergencies.
this
This
is
is
your
home, and
Yeah.
so we just stayed.
Yeah. And as you've gone through the weeks here, what's your impression of Puerto Vallarta? What is it like doing business or going to get groceries and just managing your normal life during this really unusual, crazy time?
We think that the Jalisco governor has done a really good job of shutting things down in an appropriate manner.
Amazing.
We've been lucky enough to be able to compare what he's done here in Jalisco to what's going on in the Yucatan, where we used to live in the Yucatan for 5 years.
Yeah.
So we're really familiar with the different dynamics, and the Yucatan governor did a really good job as well. And the Jalisco governor has been very transparent and open and communicating, and with video and on Facebook and all of that. So we felt comfortable the whole entire time. It's obviously gotten very quiet. Our main concerns are not like our safety or are we going to have food or water, but it's just all of the people that are out of work that live here, and how are they
the local
doing
infrastructure and economy has definitely plummeted in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
What are your observations on that as you do your normal errands, walking around town?
What
are you seeing?
Yeah, when we walk, we luckily have just a few blocks from where we're at multiple markets and OXXOs and pharmacies, and everything that we really need is open. And the grocery stores here, La Comer, has an incredible website. You go on and you order anything you want, from meats to pharmaceutical drugs to whatever you need, and they deliver it within a couple of hours right to the door.
Phenomenal.
We actually don't have a car here, which is uncommon for us. We do own a car, but it's across the country.
Sure.
We decided to fly here this time and just do Uber and taxis and whatever. And and then things changed. We also, some of the popular restaurants have remained open, and they deliver right to our door. So we have what we need. We upgraded our internet speed here at our Airbnb, so we're screaming fast internet.
What do you need?
Yeah, and I work online, and so it's been
you're
okay.
In a phenomenal position. What do your friends and family and network back in the States feel about you being here during this time?
We have. This is our 7th year of living in Mexico,
So
they know.
They're well familiar.
They're familiar with that we're dug in, and we are respectful of this country and the laws, and we care about the people, and we care about it. So we're not going to leave it at a time when maybe we can help some people here by just physically being here. And we've done that, and we've tried to do that. And so no, nobody ever questioned like, why aren't you're staying? Aren't you getting on one of those flights and getting home?
Exactly right.
Well, we are home.
Right.
We don't have anywhere to go, and
That's
we
a
don't want to
perspective.
go anywhere else but here.
That's beautiful. So what would you say to other foreign visitors and home buyers who have places here in PV who did go back, who did follow Canadian or US requests to return home? What would you tell them about coming back to PV?
I think that it's come back whenever it's not that it's unsafe. Come back when it is safe to pass through the airport, and you don't have to immediately go into a government-sanctioned 14-day quarantine or something like that. Maybe you have to come back and they say you do stay in your home for 14 days. That's cool. Like, we've been doing that for a month and a half. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, and this is not a bad place to be, right?
No,
Gorgeous.
it really isn't. I say come back when they feel comfortable. I mean, the people left for a million different reasons, whether it was their own health care back in Canada or the US, or kids or pets or whatever. Everyone had
Separated
different.
from family or a mate.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is at fault for whatever their decisions were, that it was right for them.
Sure.
For us, it was right for us just to stay here. It was the simplest, easiest, and safest thing that we could have done, was just to do nothing and settle in and follow the laws and just wait.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've been enjoying the terrace and having amazing weather.
It's amazing weather.
Dinners brought to you, groceries, everything is good.
It's great.
So as a business owner, what do you imagine as the post-quarantine Vallarta? Obviously, you've seen the infrastructure take a tumble, and there's been a lot of withdrawal of economic support. So as a business owner, what do you foresee in terms of recovering from that?
Luckily, my business is not dependent upon living here. I have an online business. My clients are actually in the United States and Canada, and so there's a whole nother level of risk and what they're going through.
Right.
But we do have friends that own businesses here as well, restaurants and shops and things like that. And the cost of doing business in Mexico is much less. My wife has actually owned a retail store before over in the Yucatan. So the costs of doing business, the insurance, all of the different things are much less.
Lower. Right.
But Vallarta is really dependent upon tourism, and there are no tourists here.
Right.
So
those cash economies, those subsidiary businesses, street sales and beach sales.
I don't know. I know our friends are obviously concerned.
Yes.
But they're not closing up shop permanently. They are reopening, and they're going to reopen and see what happens. One weird, interesting dynamic here in Vallarta that we learned from living here last year for 3 months is that it is the shops and the restaurants, some of them close down anyway in the summer, so they're used to
beginning low season anyway.
Low season, so they didn't have their high season revenue, which is where they make the vast majority of the revenue throughout the year. But these restaurants and the waiters, and we've talked to people like, well, what do you do in the summer when the restaurant goes down? Well, I work for a company that installs air conditioning units.
So some kind of career change, secondary income.
I think that luckily that's going to really help Vallarta, versus we have a direct comparison over in Playa del Carmen and Cancun, since we used to live so close to them. They're 24, they're 365, so it's a little bit different here, where companies are already used to having a slow time of year. Maybe that will be an advantage, hopefully.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, you have a great perspective, and I really appreciate all your insights, and I know people will find your story really fascinating and maybe inspire others to spend more of the year in Mexico.
Absolutely.
Almost full time.
Do it.
That's great. Well, another super interesting conversation, and more insights on how to keep Vallarta real. Thanks, you guys.